How's it going, ladies and bros? I'm Bobby Sixkilla. Welcome back to Exit Corners. It's time for chapter 24. Down in the dumps. Beth is gone. We have abandoned the blue wing and we've headed back to the black wing to complete that instead. Sent killed Beth and he did it because he's scared apparently, but we don't know why or what of. And we don't really know how Beth died still. So, I guess we gotta finish the Blackwing side before we can head back. So let's do that. Ink stood cross-armed at the back of the hallway, shoulder to the wall. As he watched the other contestants huddle around the monitor, his mind began to wander. Beth. What happened to you? How am I supposed to solve this? Why did you give me this letter? The very same letter was still tucked snugly against his breast. He reached for it, running his finger along its edge, but ultimately left it where it was. No, I promised I wouldn't. Not until we've escaped. You put your trust in me, so I'm going to do the same. Nick rummaged through his brain for anything that might prove useful. He'd read his fair share of mystery novels. Surely some wayward factoid could help him here. Hey, think you could help us out here? I know you probably got your mind on, other things, but I think you'd be a big help with this one. Is that right? It's a word puzzle. If anyone can solve this one quickly, it's you. I am making some headway. So if you'd rather keep thinking about what killed Beth... No, it's fine. I'll give it a go. Maybe all that reading of yours will come in handy for once. Shut up, Sean. Lord knows I'm not getting anywhere fast. Maybe you'd spend less time cracking jokes and hitting on Liza. You'd be better at solving these. True, true. So why don't you solve it, smart guy? Ray shot Sean a piercing glance and redirected it towards Ink. I can't believe you actually hang out with this joker. He does love his jokes. It wasn't a compliment. You can do better than this waste of air, Ink. The others turned to leave, but Ink couldn't let the conversation end that way. Guys, wait. What do you want? Listen, I know this won't seem important to you, but I want you guys to stop putting down Sean so much. But the way he's acting, he deserves it. A little, sure. He takes jokes too far sometimes, I get that. Buddy, don't worry about it. I can handle a little teasing. I know what these guys will think of you as some callous jerk. That's not you. Sean I know is considerate, patient, uplifting. Don't forget handsome, hilarious, and, Did I say handsome? Ink grinned. You could always count on Sean to cheer him up. Listen, Sean, I wanted to know what you did for me. And this ought to be rich. Okay, sorry. A little over a year ago, I was in a rough spot. I just started at BBU. Now this may come as a shock to some of you, but freshman Ink didn't have very many friends. I guess nobody from your high school went to the same college as you. A few of them did. If you grew up in Bellbridge, it was pretty common to hop over to BBU after high school. The problem was that I actually studied university a few years later than my peers. I needed some time to myself. Had a bit of a personal reboot. I was going through stuff. Coupled with an awful workload and ludicrous dorm costs, I was in a pretty bad spot. Anxiety, depression, the odd panic attack. I was down in the dumps and had no one to turn to. What about your parents? Liza, don't. We're not really on speaking terms at the moment. Haven't been for some time, unfortunately. Why else would I have moved into the dorms when I could have just stayed at home? Of course, I'm sorry to have brought that up. Toxic parents. How awful. Don't worry about it. It's in the past now. There was a brief lull as Ink mulled over Ether's comment. She knew. She knew my parents were a sore spot. That's why she tried to stop Liza. Was that her clairvoyance, I wonder? Come to think of it, she lives in the dorms too, doesn't she? I wonder if her situation is similar. It sounds like her father's toxic. He shook his head, cursing himself for losing his train of thought. Anyway, I wasn't doing well, and all I had were my books, which even then were barely enough to keep me sane. One autumn day I made a spur-of-the-moment decision to visit the campus pub. There was an event going on there, though to be honest, I didn't even remember what it was. And that's when I ran into Sean. Rather, he ran into me. Walked right up to me and started chatting like we were long-time pals. I recognised Ink from high school. We didn't really hang out back then, but we'd met at the bookstore downtown maybe a year or two after graduating. I told him to consider going to BBU, and hey, he eventually did. Honestly, he looked like he could use a friend. We started hanging out a bunch more after that. Sean helped me get out of my shell. I'd actually leave my room sometimes. Started socialising more. Went to a few parties even. I don't know what kind of rut I'd be in if it weren't for him. So say what you will about him, but he was literally the only person who tried to make a connection with the lonely kid in the corner of the bar. Ask yourselves, would you have done the same? Would any of you have reached out? Silence. The answer, it seemed, was a resounding no. Sure, Sean's on the edge today. Sure, his stress is manifesting in weird ways, but he's a decent guy. Well, sorry, I guess. mean, everybody's stress manifests differently, right? I must admit, I'm very guilty of the nervous laugh. I laugh at everything when I'm nervous, which is usually inappropriate. The other contestants turn back to the puzzle, sheepish looks on their faces. We should get back to the puzzle, probably. You didn't need to do that, Ink. No, but I wanted to. Thanks, bub. Hope we can continue to hang out when this is all over. I mean, like, I hope I don't die and stuff. I mean, you know what? I should probably just stop talking. Never change, Sean. Why don't we give him a hand with the puzzle, huh? I was hoping you'd say that. We don't need Sean to do that. A word puzzle, is it? Sounds right up my alley. Time to solve this thing. Might be up your alley, but I'm controlling you right now, and it's sure as shit not up mine. Valid spelling, both across and down. Okay. Okay, so make words. Like, aid. And, oh man, down across and across. Two Y's. These are both going to be ends then. Ends of words. And a V. Ivy? Aid? Aid! I don't think there's going to be one. Oh no, I need that there. Evil! E. Oh man. Oh, it's... The characters for valid are here. It said valid spelling, look. V-A-L-I-D. Valid. Both down and across. Is that it? Valid? Down and across. Valid. Valid spelling. Valid. Is that right? I mean, these don't mean anything though, but it doesn't say that. Well, we might as well try it. Are you serious? Okay. It's a trick question. Ha! Got it. What? That's not right at all. Why does everyone keep saying that? You just don't see it yet. Reread the clue one more time. A scowling Tiana scrutinized the screen once more, her eyes zipping back and forth in their sockets. You'd have been valid. Yeah, that's what I wrote. Valid, yeah. That's exactly right. You get a gold star. Sorry, that came out more ironic than I thought it would. Less ironic and more condescending, I would have said, but you know, whatever. Oh, I wouldn't have minded. Snarky ink is best ink. I still don't get what's going on. How's that the right answer? The clue said requirement. Valid spelling, both down and across. The wording felt a little off, so I thought about how else one might interpret the hint. As so happens, the puzzle contains all the letters to spell the word valid. But since the grid is only 3 tiles tall and 3 tiles wide, you need to spell it both down and across. Which is exactly what I did. I had the word valid, hugged the bottom left corner of the puzzle. The other letters were irrelevant. That's neat. Totally. The puzzle's actually a bit more interesting when you consider different solutions like this. I agree. These puzzles have had some creative solutions before, but this one's on another level. How were any of you supposed to get that? We weren't. This is an alternate solution. Alternate solution? Wouldn't that defeat the point of these puzzles? We don't actually know the point of the puzzle, so who's to say? A lot of these puzzles are actually more like riddles. They're heavily open to interpretation. Multiple solutions sort of play into the angle. Have you run into this before? This must be the exception and not the oh, not this again. Oh, careful there. Go sit down, maybe. I just need a few seconds. Sorry. No need to apologize. Go catch your breath. Tiana sighed, leaning against a nearby wall and closing her eyes. Why don't we finally get this door open, huh? Good idea. Might want to be careful with this one. It looks sort of heavy duty. Sean winced as he cracked open the door with a dramatic heave. Oh, who farted? I don't smell anything. Me neither. Right. Must be my imagination then. You know what they say? You smelt it, dealt it. Looks pretty dark. Let's be on our guard. Here, I'll have a quick look. Tiana was the first to poke her head through the door. See anything? The flooring on the other side seems to be a narrow mesh walkway. There's a single ladder leading down, so let's not all rush through at once. Where does the ladder lead? Can you see the bottom? Just barely. It's a long way down. I can make out some kind of console, what looked like a lockbox. Oh, and I think there's a mirror in the corner. Liza was through the door in a flash. Even from the next room over, Ink could hear her hurriedly clamber down the ladder. Did I see something wrong? She wants to see herself in the mirror. Oh, I get it. She wants to get to the bottom first because she's wearing a skirt, right? Is that the only thing you can think about? Kinda. Please kill yourself. Tiana whipped around and headed through the door herself, her hair neatly lashing ink in the face. So mean. What's a man got to do to get some respect around here? Not be a tool, I think. Stop speaking and start listening. Fair point. What would I do without you, Ink? I mean, you'd probably drink more, and I guess you wouldn't be involved in this shitty death game. Rhetorical question, buddy. Rhetorical. Anyway, sounds like Tiana made her way down. I tend to jump into the snake pit, I guess. Hey, yeah, you stay here. I don't know if I'll be able to help with this one. There's a good chance I won't be able to get down that ladder without hurting myself. And even if I do, there's no guarantee I'm going to be able to climb back up. I'm sorry. You don't need to apologize. You've done more than enough today. Please, don't overexert yourself. Yeah, you should stay up here. It'll be easier for everyone. Thanks, guys. I'll be right outside. Yell at me if you need my attention. Will do. Suppose I'll head down next. Can I have a word? Of course. What's up? If you've been paying attention to the Four Elements wing layouts, you'll know that this room is definitely a corner. No question. I figured the same thing. But the weird scene Tiana described, I'm all but certain of it. That means someone's meant to be killing themselves now. Nobody wants a repeat of the last one. Make sure they don't stick their arms into some fucking box thing. Ink couldn't help but snicker at the comment. Yeah, I guess that sounded pretty stupid. Still, I'm counting on you to keep everyone safe. I'll do my best. I know you will. Good luck, man. Taking a deep breath, Ink turned away. He wasn't going to let Ray down. With that, Ink trudged through the door. The smell of rust and stagnant water overtook all else. The walkway Tiana described was only a few feet wide. Ink shimmied across the dimly lit mesh, stepped onto a solitary ladder and began to climb down. He had no choice but to move slowly. The flaky rungs were dangerously damp. His feet eventually touched down on rough cement. Gross. No kidding. Make sure to watch his step. It's a little slippery in here. Just so you guys know, Ray won't be joining us. I don't think we should have him climbing any ladders in his current state. Yeah, sure. Come give us a hand with this console. It's just a blank screen right now. Let me have a look. As Ink neared the peculiar construct, he couldn't help but notice an awestruck girl in the corner of the room. One sec, actually. Hey, you, okay? This is so weird. In a good way? I don't know. Just weird. Is that really me in there? Or some stranger? I don't recognize this person at all. I thought it all makes sense, but now I'm just more confused than ever. Silence reigned for a time. Eventually, a fidgety Liza managed to peel herself away from his smudged-looking glass. She coughed a tiny cough into her elbow. Ink couldn't get a good look, but he suspected there was some amount of blood involved. I'll just go ahead and say it. This one's obviously my corner. Well, we don't know that for sure. Don't play dumb with me, Ink. Liza's voice was laced with acid. She was right, of course. The mirror left little room for doubt that this corner was meant for her. So clearly, there's a lot for you a lot you failed to tell me. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm pretty lost. I don't know how much we can tell you, but... So, we're looking for these keycards, right? So far, each one we found is at the end of one of the hotel's colour-coded wings. Each involved some sort of personal challenge. The first was aimed at Beth and nearly drove her to self-harm. The second was Ray's and... well, you know what happened there. Liza suspects this corner is hers, and really, that's all you need to know. Let's all work together to make sure no harm comes to her. Or anyone, for that matter. Gotcha. So, if we're talking keycards, it's probably in this lockbox, right? That's a safe bet, yeah. Has anyone tried that hand scanner? Obviously, it's going to be Liza's. We wanted your opinion on this stuff before we touched anything. Let's try it then. It's not like there's much else to do in here. Said scanner is currently inoperable. Salutations! Long time no see, Sent. To what do I owe this pleasure? I'm here to provide instruction for this corner. Nothing more. Go on then. What's the deal with this place? Before I begin, I would like to confirm the participation of everyone in this room. I must close, seal, and lock the door above, you see. I don't suppose you can tell us what's going to happen once the door's locked. I unfortunately cannot. Figured as much. Ink turned to the other contestants in the room. Anyone want to opt out of this one? The question was met with silence. They were in it for the long haul. Well, we'll all be participating, except for Ray. Leave him out of this. Very well. So begins our third corner. So how do we get out of here? And how do we get the black keycard? On the subject of the black keycard, voila, it is now yours to take. Sure enough, the lockbox had unclasped itself. Hank leaned forward, flipped open the lid, and fished out a familiar-looking keycard with a dark crest emblazoned upon it. There's no way that's it. What's the catch? Hank steeled himself, dreading the worst. In 30 minutes, the grates at the bottom of this chamber will begin to discharge a sulfuric acid mist. The concentration will steadily increase over the course of 20 minutes. Hank crossed his arm, nearly unfazed. Nothing about sensed threat seemed less than genuine. At the very least, it was incomplete. I'm no chemist, but sulfuric acid, I'm guessing that's lethal? Well, it's no hydrochloric acid, but surely nitric would be worse. Guess it's lethal, slow and painful to boot. Precisely, inhaling it will be unavoidable. As mentioned earlier, the door at the top of the ladder has been sealed tight. In order to escape, you must, of course, unseal it. While the mechanism that opens the door is a simple one, the accompanying decision is anything but. Please note the hand scanner to your right. The door at the top of the stairs will be unlocked for as long as a pulse is detected upon said scanner. The moment a pulse is no longer detected, the door will close and reseal itself automatically. So someone has to stay behind and melt in acid. Wait, then how... Horror crept onto Ether's face as she added 2 and 2 together. How would the last person escape? That's just it, my dear. They don't. You can't. I must. Shut your mouth, you piece of shit. Calm down, Sean. We'll find a way out of this. How? I could put my hand on the scanner, then you guys could wedge something in the door. Absolutely not. Even if you somehow managed to impede the hydraulics powering said door, such an act would be against the rules. My patience has all but evaporated. Defiance will be met with the death of every contestant. The gears in Ink's mind came to a grinding halt. You cannot change your reality. You can only colour it. Someone will die in this room. Your only choice is whom. Oh, and here's one final piece of advice for my wonderful contestants. A message lies hidden somewhere in this corner. It will not alter your fate, but it might make your decision slightly easier. I have a feeling that one of you might have what it takes to pinpoint this key piece of information. That's enough from me now. I suppose you'll want to have a circular argument or some such. Or perhaps a pulling of straws is in order. However you come to your decision, know that you have less than 30 minutes to do so. Remember that by doing nothing, you're damning your fellow contestants to a horrible, painful death. Silence is submission. Apathy is compliance. Inaction is murder. So I beseech you, do nothing. Or you could die. Well, if we still have those suicide pills, I would only be willing to stay behind in the acid room if I had a suicide pill on me as well, so that I could hold it open until they left and then kill myself. Because, you know, the cyanide would be quick, but the acid would not. Ink had nothing to say. No one did. The other contestants stood behind him, shocked, furious, vacant. One even thought to consult a reflection. Everyone seemed to share a certain numbness. Is that it then? Is there nothing I can do? I was so naive to think that Beth would be Sent's last victim. How could anyone be so cruel? How the hell are we supposed to decide something like this? Where's this hidden message? Could it help us? No, it doesn't matter what it is. There's no escaping this damn choice. For the rest of us to live, one of us has to die. I say we volunteer and then just suicide pill ourselves. It seems like the way to do it. I don't think anyone wants to be acided to death. That sounds like a really, really bad time. Anyway, that's the end of that chapter then. I guess the next one's going to be very interesting indeed. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking out for me, and I'll see you in the next one.